Good morning, Brand DIYers. It is Mark here, and it is a beautiful Friday here in Calgary. I'm going on the air 1 hour earlier than normal, but I know a lot of you don't dial in for the live broadcast anyway. You check it out throughout the day, so no biggie. I have got a very exciting topic today because yesterday I was involved in two workshops. One that I hosted for a tech incubator, and another one that I was a panelist for entrepreneur boot camp. And in the course of these two workshops, I got a ton of great questions, and it's always wonderful to get questions from entrepreneurs who are, as a brand person like everyone else. Hey, Ryan, good morning. How are you? Like everybody else, I'm inside my own jar, so I think that everybody knows what I know. And then you hear it from folks who are frustrated with issues where I just go, really? You don't know that? And that makes me really happy because I get to keep my job, because I get to help people out and help them with issues that they're having and challenges that they're having that I may totally just dance right past because I assume everybody knows that stuff. So I want to share three really cool questions that I got yesterday in the course of these two workshops that I was hosting and being a panelist on. And I hope that they help you as well. So the first question was a frustrated entrepreneur. And this entrepreneur was very artistic, had a beautiful product. And the question from this entrepreneur was, can't I just follow my own vision? You know, you keep talking about a brand being what people want and what you want. Well, I'm tired of just trying to satisfy everybody all the time. Why can't I just be my own authentic self and do what I want? And I think the nice answer is that you can. In fact, if you try to not be yourself, people will sniff it out extremely quickly. If you're normally introverted and you try to be the showboat, people will know that you're not being you. And they'll sniff that out and they'll think that that's inauthentic. The not so nice answer is that if you are in business, you are in business to serve. And all of us are in business to serve whether we like it or not. If we no longer want to serve, then we can go off into the woods and do something by ourselves, but don't expect a paycheck for it. So I think that is actually the more brutal but more true answer. And you know, the nice thing is that once you get in the habit of serving, like I'm doing here, you know, imparting these little nuggets, you really start to like it. I can't tell you what a rush it is to get on these live streams, whether I'm with an entrepreneur, an expert, or just handing out these little tidbits. I can't tell you how fun it is to serve other people and make them happy and give them something where they go, oh, I could totally use that. So the answer is, if you are in business, you're in business to serve. If you're in business to serve, you have to figure out what your customers actually want. And once you actually start talking to your customers and you find out what you want, you might actually leverage that into inspiration, and it might, not might, it will make your product better, which makes you more excited. So it's kind of a virtuous cycle, everybody feeding off everybody else, and everybody's happy. They get a product they love, you get paid. Question one. Second question, from an entrepreneur who was admittedly an introvert. This entrepreneur said, I have been told again and again that I have to be in front of the camera. I have to be the spokesperson for my brand because now Gary Vaynerchuk is out there saying, put out 60 pieces of content every day, which I don't know. I think that's nuts. But everybody is telling you, you have to be out in front of the camera. You have to talk, talk, talk. Rubbish. I don't think that's true at all. And I use the example, I think once you put a constraint on your business and you say, I am not going to go in front of the camera, that's okay. So what are you going to do? That's a constraint. Now, you can get creative about it. For example, I think it was Columbia Clothing who did this. The owner of the company put his mother out front, Mother Gert Boyle. She was actually his mom. And she used to be in all the ads, and her sole job was to talk about how her son was letting her down by not making the clothes tough enough. And the ads were hilarious. Mother Gert Boyle died just a few years ago, but she was an icon in advertising. And she was actually in TV commercials and she was in print ads. She was hilarious. She was the front person for the company. That's one really creative way around this constraint. And a constraint is a good thing. What's another good way around the constraint? Well, I believe one of the most powerful stories is the founder story. It helps everybody understand where you're coming from, and they will naturally resonate with you. If you are naturally shy, you don't have to go in front of the camera. However, it would be very smart to write your story out. Where you were before you came up with the idea, what inspired you to have the idea, how you manifested that idea into a product, the trials and tribulations along the way, the bumps along the way, the sleepless nights, where you are today, and the vision that it's given you for a better world tomorrow. Very inspiring, and it helps create resonance between you and your audience. Now, if part of your story is that I have always been a naturally shy person, I do not like going in front of the camera, that's part of your story. And you know what? If you want to create resonance, you might just be creating resonance with a whole bunch of people who also do not like going in front of the camera, who are also shy. In fact, maybe your product actually reflects that. Maybe it's a product for people who want to get things done without talking to other people. So not going in front of the camera, not a problem. It's called a constraint, a beautiful constraint. There's actually a book called A Beautiful Constraint, one of the people I interviewed in my podcast. And it is actually a leverage point for creativity. So if you don't want to go in front of the camera, put somebody else in front of the camera, or just write it into your story. Third thing you could do, one of those, or I'd say the second most powerful story out there after the founder story, is the customer story. A customer was unhappy in their world, then they discovered your product, they used your product, they're super happy with your product, and then they go tell all their friends about the product. What would happen if you videoed a few customers telling their stories? The people who are watching these videos go, I feel resonance and empathy with those people. They don't need to necessarily feel empathy with you. You can be kind of invisible, but if they see other people like themselves enjoying your product and talking about it in a way they can relate to, job well done. All right, so that's two questions. First question again was, can't I just do what I want? The second question was, I don't want to be in front of the camera. The third question that I thought really was smart and good, we were talking about personas. And oh, I just saw Valeria Westra. How are you, Valeria? Oh, and Barbara's there. Hey, good morning. The third question that I got that I thought was really smart, one of the people said, you know, we always talk about personas and crafting a persona. That is the target audience, the person that you're going to market to. Now, what's wrong with having multiple personas? What's wrong with marketing to two people or three different types of people? The short answer is absolutely nothing if you want twice as much work. I'm a big believer that to properly market, you need to focus as much as possible. Life is hard enough, even if you're focused. If you're less focused, it just gets incrementally harder, okay? So you pick one person who you think, or you've discovered through doing a bit of interview research, who just loves your product. Now, I'm not talking about mildly likes your product. They don't go, oh, that's nice. This has got to be their favorite movie in the whole wide world. They want your product morning, noon, and night. They love your product, okay? Talk to that person. Who is that person? And then create a very, very clear persona. What do they think? What's their psychology like? What's their worldview like? Go as narrow, I'm making the shape here, it's like a shape of a very narrow slice of pie. Pick the narrowest possible slice of pie, the smallest addressable market that you can address while still making money. Go as tight as possible and then strive to give them what they love. Back to our first question, can't I just follow my own vision? Find the people who love what you do, even if that's only 500 people, even if that's only 5 people, and market to them. Forget the noise at the side, okay? Forget all the other folks who kind of like you. Because here's what's going to happen. If you market to this small audience, remember what I just talked about? If you don't want to go in front of the camera, get testimonials. If you market to a very small market of absolutely crazy, passionate people who love you more than anything, those people, if you ask them, will go out and become your evangelists. They will tell all of their friends, and through the miracle of social media, they can now tell 5,000 friends. And you know what's beautiful about that? Is that it's not you telling those 5,000 people. You have a vested interest in selling stuff. I don't trust you. However, this person who loves your product, I trust them because they're not making any money by giving me this glowing testimonial. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart because they really like the stuff. So I trust them. So if you want to go after two personas, feel free to. Prepare yourself for a lot of confusion and a lot more work. The better strategy is to go extremely narrow, find the people who are nuts about your product, market to them, and then turn them into evangelists or brand advocates who will then go and preach the good news about your product to all of their friends. Much more sane policy for building a product. All right, so those are the three questions that I got from entrepreneurs yesterday that really stuck in my mind. If you have questions, I would love to hear them. Post them here at BrandDIY Group. Also, if you know entrepreneurs who have questions, tell them to join the group. The more, the messier. We want lots of people in here mixing it up. And if you're an entrepreneur and you want to come on, next Thursday is open. So I can have you in the entrepreneur hot seat next Thursday. All right. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and I will be back in my normal studio on Monday. Talk to you soon.